Good evening, race fans, and welcome in to another episode of Horsepower Happenings. Big show coming up. First time guest Casey Smith, and then Berlin Raceway winner Austin Hull straight ahead. But first, here's what's happening in a Motor City Minute. In the world of NASCAR, the Xfinity Series was in action on Saturday at Talladega. Austin Hill got another win on the season, another restrictor plate style track win. That one coming over Burton and Love. And in the Cup Series, Austin Cindric picks up another restrictor plate style win, and this one over Larson and Byron. RTJ, Ricky Thornton Jr. doubled down this weekend, winning both Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series events at Port Royal. Jacob Denny and Justin Grant grabbed the USAC Midgets win during the Kokomo GP this weekend. And finally, Caleb Henry grabbed the win in the return of the All-Star Circuit of Champions Saturday night at Fremont Speedway. Caleb, by the way, came from 13th to grab that win. Those things and so much more happening tonight. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France does not join me from across the way. He's down enjoying some sunshine, some umbrella drinks, and chasing a little white ball around the mowed yards down there. But it's my pleasure to welcome in Cody Geyer into the program. Cody, what's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. It's cool to be on Horsepower Happenings for the first time.
Yeah, thanks for making time for us. Cody, a great media person around here. I first met Cody. I didn't realize who Cody was. We first met, I don't know if he remembers this. He was working for, back in the Speed 51 days, working for Speed 51 at Kalamazoo Speedway. I think doing some social media content or something like that. And now we can't get away from each other from photography to videography. He's held the microphone and stuff like that. So excited to have Cody on the show tonight. Must See Racing Sprint Cars announced on Sunday that the popular Bob Frey Classic will return to the schedule in 2025 after a one-year hiatus. The event will move to Sandusky Speedway in Sandusky, Ohio, and kick off the High Miler Super Modified Nationals. This is a special Wednesday night show this year, July 23rd, 2025. Of course, the Must See Racing series. Cody, the winged sprint cars on the asphalt. Lots of speed. Sandusky, a big racetrack. Sure to be a good one. I've taken in some must-see racing events before. These cars are just wicked fast, and I can't imagine seeing them at a place like Sandusky.
Right. And it's a big weekend at Sandusky with the High Miler, one of the biggest super modified races in the country. So to add the sprint cars Wednesday night to kick off the weekend, it'll be a big one.
Wednesday night racing is big this year too. By the way, we'll have a lot of Wednesday night racing here at Owasso in Michigan, and so clear your Wednesdays. Will we see the return, another try of the MSPA Wednesday night series in Michigan? As much Wednesday stuff is going on, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Crystal Motor Speedway in action over the weekend. Derek Hilliker held off Travis Stemler and Brandon Thurlby for his first win of the season Saturday night. Myron DeYoung grabbed the IMCA modified win from sixth, holding off Jeff Rhea and Chase Roseborough, who came from 11th to finish third. Very different racetrack than what we saw when we were there with the Super Sprints, Cody. That place got slick, rubbered up from top to bottom, and that was a Derek Hilliker type of racetrack. Way different than what we had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, when we were at Crystal with Great Lakes Super Sprints, Crystal was juiced up. And you had track records being set during heat races. How often do you see that?
Never, ever, actually. So that was pretty good. Congrats to Derek and Travis and Brandon, too, up front there. Excited to see what unfolds. We'll have more on an update later on this week, I should say, on the Domination Race Cars Dirt Late Model Power Rankings, as we'll get those up to date with more late model racing around the region, including at Thunderbird Raceway on Saturday. Bill Bray won the late model feature. A.J. Ward took home the IMCA modified win. So we'll get an update on the super modified or super late model power rankings this week. Also, Owasso Speedway kicked off their season on Saturday. David McManus, we saw this last year, Cody. David went to victory lane early and often at Owasso, and then the Aaron Taylor show came into town. We've been kind of watching with everything that's going on with Wheeler Motorsports and obviously Wheeler Trucking and Owasso Speedway being Wheelers. Do we see more of David McManus? Is he able to stretch this out throughout the season this year in the modifieds? What do you think?
Oh, I think he can for sure. I mean, former track champion at both Owasso and Bertrand, I believe. So definitely has the talent to do it.
Aaron Taylor, we'll see what he can do. Can he have another successful 2024? The Howe Racing Enterprises power rankings will be updated this week, thanks to Owasso Speedway. Speaking of, real quick, the modifieds to round out the top three, Nick Clemens and Damian Lytle rounded out the podium. How about this? Cody, you're a guy who grew up, going to these racetracks in the tri-state area. Brent Jack back to victory lane in the number 41. We used to see him run the outlaw car all over the place at Springport, and of course, we'd see them roll into Angola. Starts on the pin, holds off all challengers, including Trevor Berry and his son Hunter Jack, and then Tanner Jack made sure that the family took up three of the top five spots, finishing in fifth. When I saw this on Sunday, I thought that is pretty cool. The old man went back to victory lane.
Yeah, he hasn't been behind the wheel nearly as much as he used to be, just with both Hunter and Tanner racing. So really cool to see him in victory lane and well, all three in the top five. But
Yeah.
did you also see what car Trevor Berry was in?
No, I did not catch that. What was going on with Trevor?
He was in the John Beach mystery machine.
Really? Okay. Now it did catch my attention. Trevor Berry will race anything with four wheels and a motor, maybe even two wheels. But he'll race anything. I've seen him in a sprint car, obviously the modified. It did catch my attention for him to be template racing. Now this mystery machine is for sale. Is John? I wonder if John's putting him in this car to try to sell it. Maybe Trevor ends up owning it.
Maybe that's an option. I mean, I know John's a former track champion himself, so maybe to get the extra feelers out there and see what other people can do in it.
Yeah. I wanted to default to you a little bit, Cody. You were kind of keeping up with what was going on over at Galesburg Speedway this weekend. First and foremost, did see the video going around social media, a missing man lap for the driver that was lost just a few weeks ago, and then everybody holding up the twos as he was going by. That was really cool. But you had more details than I. I wasn't able to keep up quite as closely with this as I should have been. Tell me what went on this weekend.
Well, so a couple weeks ago, Adam Van Avery, former street stock track champion at Galesburg, passed away. And so his family competes in the street stock division. His dad, Brad, had his car in the field, and then his brother, Jesse, had a tribute scheme to Adam, and Jesse went on to win the feature
Wow.
Saturday night.
Wow. How fitting. That is good stuff. Well, there you go. Galesburg Speedway underway. Good for them. All right, Friday night, Great Lakes Super Sprints back in action. I-96 Speedway kicking off their 2025 season. Not a whole lot to talk about outside of the Great Lakes Super Sprints. Rain came in really just after the halfway point of the IMC modified portion, which we'll talk about more coming up in just a few moments. But Cody, if you look at this race on My Race Pass, you look at it on paper, you say, okay, snooze fest. Max Stambaugh goes to victory lane, starts on the pole, and leads every lap en route to the win for Smith Motorsports. Not the case. You had the pleasure of shooting this one through the eye of the camera. I know from what I recall from looking out the big window and holding the microphone, this was a very intense race, top dominant. So when you got to lap traffic, Max had to do some things that were a little shady, and so did Dustin Daggett. Daggett crossed him over, had the lead at one point, never officially led a lap, but did lead coming out of turn two, I think on two occasions. Dustin had to do some stuff that was pretty tight, and Jared Horseman coming through the field. Keith Sheffer Jr., hard charger for the second week in a row. Very, very intense race on Friday night from my perspective. What was yours?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was a continuance of the story from Crystal last weekend. I mean, second straight A feature to go green to checkered, and Stambaugh didn't have a moment to breathe. Going through lap traffic and surviving slide jobs from Dustin Daggett, it was one heck of a show.
And to piggyback on the going green to checker, not that there weren't opportunities for caution flags, by the way. Everybody knew that rain was coming. I mean, it was evident. The wind picked up. It'd been kind of sprinkling on and off all night. The solid rain was on the way. We knew we had to get this show in, or at least get to halfway. I don't know if you caught it on the camera. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it yet. Chase Dunham spun in a hornet's nest of cars exiting turn four, and somehow everybody kept going in the right direction. And then I think it was Corbin Gurley did the same thing down in turn two, spun in a hornet's nest of cars, somehow does the 360, keeps it going, and we stayed green through the whole thing. It was unbelievable what we saw on Friday night. I don't know if you caught any of that.
I think I caught you calling Chase Dunham spin, but I don't think I got either one of them on camera. But Yeah, a few sketchy moments there, spinning in a hornet's nest.
Well, time for our first featured interview of the night, and this is a gentleman who picked up the win on Friday and had a little bit of help from Mother Nature, but we'll talk about that coming up. This interview is brought to you by the Muffler Man in Coldwater, picking up the win Friday night from Portland, Michigan. Casey Smith, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Casey, man, first and foremost, season opening win for you at I-96 Speedway. I don't care. We used to say when I was racing, I didn't care if it was one other car, 20 other cars, 10 laps, 20 laps, 5 laps. A win is a win, man. Talk about how you're feeling here on a Monday night after that Friday night victory.
Oh, yeah, it definitely feels great. It's definitely a big confidence booster, going into the season, getting in that opening night win, especially with the competition there, Jeff and AJ and Harnett coming on, 4 races, 4 wins in a row. I mean, it's definitely a big confidence booster.
Talk about, when you look at it on paper, AJ's coming. He moved up, right? The 20 car. I think everybody kind of knows he has owned I-96 for the past couple
Oh,
of
yeah.
seasons. Something about him and that combination, his engine combo and that racetrack go really, really well together. If weather doesn't play a factor, do you hold him off, or what? How do you think your car was that night?
I think I'd hold him off. I think I'd hold him off and Jeff off. I mean, I watch the videos. My mom tapes up in the stands, and that first start and then the first restart, I pulled away quite a bit. So I think I would have held him off if there was a restart. But yeah, AJ is definitely the king of I-96. I tell you, I can't tell you how many times he's won there in the last 5, 6 years I've been racing there. But to beat him, yeah, it really says something about our program and Jeff too. I mean, he's bad fast. Definitely Friday night. I mean, to beat those two, I think we found something with the car.
Yeah, and when you have that threat of weather going into a feature, how does that change your game plan?
You definitely got to get out and go. You know what I mean? If they like they did Friday, if they call that race, you got to get as many positions as fast as you can. You know what I mean? Can't beat around the bush and wait. Um, but yeah, obviously I started up front, started on the pole. It was perfect scenario for me. Um, that first restart, kind of made me a little nervous. I know AJ and Jeff were going to be right behind me, trying to pull a slide job, trying to go for it. But yeah, luckily I pulled away and got a couple long green flag stretches and held that lead.
Casey, I want to know what it is like for you setup wise. We were talking a lot about it with the sprint cars in an early season race at I-96, what the track's going to do, how it's going to be. For us, for the sprint cars, top dominant, man. We had nobody making the bottom work. What were you set up for? What were you expecting out of that racetrack? And how tough is it to go first division out right after the sprint cars kind of blow everything off?
Oh yeah, it's real tough after the sprint cars. But getting back to the track, being opening night with the sprint cars and late models, Walt was gonna pour some water on the track and make it really good, really fast, hammer down. So definitely going into that, we went with a little bit lower gear than we normally do, and took a little bit of roll steer out of the car just to really run the top and run the cushion. And I guess we hit the sweet spot. Like I said, I mean we were pretty quick and was able to get the win.
Yeah,
But sprint cars, yeah, I mean, just typically every track we go, I-96, Crystal, Thunderbird, every track that has a sprint cars, it's always usually a pretty good track, pretty wet, heavy track, I feel like. And going out after them, yeah, it's the bottom's pretty dusty, I think. So it's definitely a top dominant track.
you move on, win on Friday night, seventh on Saturday at Crystal. How different was Crystal? I mean, I only saw a couple of pictures. It looked like it was a pretty different racetrack than what we saw when we were there. He finally got the LeBarons finally got a week where it didn't downpour rain all week until race day. How was the track on Saturday?
Yeah, the track was pretty. It had some character, I say. In the heat race, it was kind of slick on the top, and then the bottom was a little rough. But you really had to pitch the car in the corner and get it to turn to uh, to make the corner. But in the feature it was really slick. I'm not gonna lie. The middle of the top, I felt like there was nothing there. I mean, obviously we were the last class to run there on Saturday night, but most of the race I tried searching, middle of the top, looking for something, but I just couldn't really find anything. And I felt like most of the cars ahead of me were running the bottom, so I was like, I'm not just gonna follow them around. I'm gonna see what the car can do, and I'm gonna try to learn something about the car. Um, but yeah, my good buddy Dave Rhea, he actually got sixth in the feature on Saturday night. I was able to pass him in the heat race on the last lap, but he got me in the feature where it pays. So I'm a little butthurt about that, but I'll try to get him.
But well, we're less than a month into the season. Just how big is it to be able to go to victory lane this early?
Oh, dude, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, the competition in Michigan, it's so good. Like I was saying, Ward and Rhea and Harnick, Roseboro, all the diamond cars up north, they've just been red hot lately. And to be able to race against all those cars on opening night and pull out the win, it's like I said, is a huge confidence booster. Because I know Harnick, he's won the two shows at Crystal, and then obviously down in Florida, he was red hot. Um, so it's just a really big confidence booster, and it tells me I'm doing something right with the setup in the car. It kind of makes me feel good about it.
Casey, I want to take a quick break here, and then I want to ask you about the wins. Kind of piggybacking off of Cody here, I want to say thank you first and foremost, though, to the Muffler Man in Coldwater. There's so much more than just mufflers and exhaust. Just because the weather's warming up doesn't mean you need to be riding the streets on slicks. Right now, when you purchase 4 tires at the Muffler Man in Coldwater, you'll get a free alignment, ensuring that your investment is protected and made to last. The Muffler Man in Coldwater also handles general maintenance like oil changes, tune-ups, and much more. Find MufflerManColdwater.com or call 517-279-9896. The Muffler Man in Coldwater, a Hankook and Cooper Tires dealer. According to my race pass last year, Casey, you were held out of victory lane, which I'm sure is a stat that you love to have brought up.
Oh yeah.
Talk about last year. I mean, what again, this sport, we talked to Jared Horseman last week, and he was on a season and a half winless streak, and he talked about, this sport will humble you in a hurry, but the highs are high and the lows are low. What was it last year? Do you guys feel like what you were missing, why you were held out of victory lane? Talk about 2024.
Yeah, 2024. I mean, it was good. We had a couple of second place, third place, top five finishes, but yeah, like you said, just could not find victory lane. Had a couple close calls over at Tri City and one at Crystal, a couple of I-96. But I think we were lacking, just we were making too big of changes. We were trying to get outside of our notebook, and we kind of just really this year we've just been making small changes, small tweaks, trying to really stay inside of our window. But yeah, I was joking with my dad earlier about we're already doing better this season because we got a win and we didn't have one last season. Um, but yeah, last season was our first full season in this new car, and I think we learned a lot. And I feel like, especially at I-96, we had a lot of speed towards the end of the year, and hopefully we carried that over this year. But hopefully, yeah, we'll keep that momentum going after the first couple nights, and we'll see if we can maybe get a championship out of it.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Well, we've never had you on the show before, so I want you to give us a little background. You're relatively young as far as our sport locally is concerned. Talk about how you got into this thing. I understand you got in as almost as young as you can, single
Yep.
digits into this sport. Talk about your background a little bit.
Yeah. I started racing quarter midgets when I was about 4.5 years old, and during those 9 years, that I did it from 5 to 14, I met a lot of guys with a lot of talent, and I'm sure you know a couple of them. Bobby Elliott races with you guys, GLSS, and Bryce Lucius is pretty big down south a little bit. Chase Randall and Emerson Axum. I grew up racing with those guys, and Carson Hocevar too. NASCAR. I was racing with him a lot, and it's pretty humbling, to see those guys make it, as far as they did, and then I'm just some local Michigan modified racer. But yeah, I've been in modifieds for shoot 15 to 20 or 5, 6, 7 seasons. Really haven't ran for points anywhere, but we're hoping to do it this year. Maybe at I-96, maybe at Crystal State regional points. It all depends how the first couple nights go.
I mean, having started in modifieds at such a young age, just what was the process like just getting acclimated to a bigger car and racing with the veterans, like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, it was like learning a new language. Obviously I had the experience from quarter midgets, but it was nothing like these modifieds and on dirt tracks. My first year full time in modifieds, I just spent it all at Palo, and really definitely learned a lot. Grew up racing at Palo basically, and I'd like to call that my home track. Um, but when I was really young, when I first started, Brody Bowser really taught me a lot. I mean, he was just a real class act guy, especially at Palo. I'd race there every week, and he'd kind of coach me and mentor me. Tell me what to do on the car, give me setup help, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, asphalt to dirt, it is way different. It's definitely a learning curve.
And then you also mentioned going through the quarter midget ranks with these up and coming young sprint car drivers. Have you put any thought into possibly running one sometime?
Oh yeah. Um, Before we bought this new Longhorn a couple years ago, it was actually in the talks to hot lap Daggett's, one of Daggett's cars. And I would have really loved to do that, but unfortunately, we bought this new car and kind of squashed that. Um, but yeah, I would love to get in the seat of one of them one day, but man, they're just so expensive. You know what I mean? Um,
Was
they
it
look like a
was it
blast,
Bobby that
though.
you said you were friends with and raced with? Bobby, is that who you said? Bobby Elliott?
Yeah, Bobby Elliott. Yep.
All right. Well, I don't. I mean, come on, let's go, Bobby. You gotta change the seats sometime. Let this kid get some hot laps on this thing. I was gonna go the other direction. Out of the quarter midget thing. It's funny because quarter midgets allows you to do something. You can either stick with the open wheel and really see that all the way through, or it can lead you to sprint cars and dirt track racing and doing other things. I was going to ask the other side of it is, have you eyeballed any sort of asphalt racing returning back? Returning to doing some of that, kind of that clean racing stuff, if you will.
No,
Yeah,
not
that a
that
boy.
haven't even
There you
crossed
go.
my
That's
mind.
all we needed right there. Just a solid no.
Yeah. No, it hasn't even crossed my mind. I think watching asphalt racing is like watching paint dry. You know what I mean? It's so boring. I love the dirt. I love throwing sliders and getting the car dirty. I mean, it's just a blast.
Is modifieds? I mean, do you feel like you found a home there? Are you going to be comfortable? Are you? Is it 20? Is that how old you are? Is that accurate? 20
Yep.
years old? Yeah.
Yep.
So you got a lot of career potentially still ahead of you. I
Oh
mean, do
yeah.
you, do you see yourself as like a Myron DeYoung who's going to be in modifieds for the rest of forever, or what are you hoping to be able to accomplish?
To be honest, I don't know.
And that's
I
not
don't
a
know.
knock on Myron either. He's had a great career.
Oh yeah.
I mean, fantastic race car driver. But I think that there's some unrest, for race car drivers right now. They don't want to be in the seat of something for too long if it's not a top tier program. So, what is it that you'd like to accomplish?
I'd like to be in a late model to be honest with you. I think late models are badass. I like them a lot more than sprint cars. Um, but I'd like to be in a late model, just if the budget allows it. Um, and getting back to your modified question, me sticking in modifieds, I got a lot of friends in modifieds that I've made over the years. Like I said, the Rias uptown, and then Jack Dahlman, real good buddies with him. Um, but I got too many friends in the modifieds to go switch to a different class.
Yeah.
Now, if I ever got tangled in with one of them, maybe I'd switch classes for a year, but until then, no, I'm sticking with mods.
Have you talked with Jeff and Austin? Are the two that come to mind right off the rip, who have made this jump? And then you can find others. Dave Baker did it. Travis Stemler obviously has done it, but driving for other people. That modified to late model step. Have you talked to those guys about? Because for me, as a I mean, pretty involved race fan, I look at the expense of auto racing, and I look at what you're doing in modifieds. You know, the engines are going to be, you're in the IMCA division, so it's a little different. But, if you look at a dirt car UMP modified, you're going to spend a little bit more money on tire, but you're already running the open engine. You're already running the quick change rear end and the pole bar setups. You're already running the most lightweight and, brake system that you can get. I mean, you're already doing so many things that are really close to late model racing. Why not just spend it and go do it? And I get it, right? Money doesn't grow on trees, but how close is it? I mean, what kind of a jump are you looking at, and what have guys like Austin and Jeff talked about with their experience having done it, and now they're back running modifieds?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't talked to Harnick about it, but like I said, Jeff's just right uptown, and he said it was the stupidest decision he'd ever make.
Really?
Yep. Yep. He said it was about 3 to 4 times more expensive, weekly costs than that of a modified. But I mean, yeah, you're looking at completely everything. All the tires different, all the wheels are different. Obviously, car, motor, just their shocks, oil system. I mean, it's just stupid money. But yeah, I'd love to get behind the wheel of one, but
Yeah.
just don't know if my wallet will allow it.
And Casey ain't playing with stupid money. All right, got it, got it, understood. Um, Track championship this year, you got a lot of options. You obviously open up the Win Friday at I-96. You've been playing at Crystal, where or both, or I mean, Mount Pleasant opens this Friday. You got a lot of options to take that car, IMCA or BMOD sanction. Where would you like to get your track championship?
100% I-96. Yep, yep. That track's been my kryptonite for the last couple of years, and now I finally feel like we're starting to do better. But I really like what Larry's doing with the track. Putting money into it. Trying to make the facilities better. If he keeps putting money into it, I'll be there every Friday night. As far as Saturday goes, I like Crystal. I like the track, but 2 nights a week of racing it's hard. It's hard. Work all week and then busy on Friday night, Saturday night. You really gotta love it to do it 2 nights a week.
And with you potentially racing for points, how does that change your mindset going into each night?
Oh yeah, huge, huge. Track points, not so much. But if I was running for state or regional points, you know what I mean? I just really have to be consistent, stay out of wrecks, you know what I mean, and just finish every night, finish in the top 10 every night to secure that. But as far as track points, racing 2 nights a week is tough for track points. Obviously, if you wreck one night, you screw yourself for the next night. But so far, I mean, we've been out of wrecks this year, and I-96 is always really clean to us. So it's I like I-96 a lot. You know what I mean? Just like what I was saying, Larry keeps dumping money into it. I'll be there every Friday night. As far as Crystal goes, I feel like there's a little bit more wrecks, but you get that. It's a tighter track, tighter racing. You need to expect that.
Well, and being from right there in Portland, it's kind of ironic that 96 would be your kryptonite, right? I mean, that's your home.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you grow up going there then? As like a fan as a kid or anything, or?
Yeah, every once in a while, I was busy with the quarter midgets every weekend, just like I am now. But definitely, when there was like a Thursday show or Sunday show or, off weekend, definitely went there and supported my friends because, Dave Rhea uptown, Jeff's dad, he raced there quite a bit and Palo quite a bit, so. Yeah, growing up, definitely I was into the dirt track stuff, but unfortunately I was racing asphalt.
All right, last thing for me, and I just, it's interesting, the rumor mill. And if you talk to Larry and Mike and those guys at 96, they'll tell you, there are plans to kind of rework and reconfigure that racetrack. And I think what I saw on Friday, it looked like they may have put a little bit more banking into that racetrack, and maybe that's the start of what they want to do with it moving forward. But what have you heard, and kind of what are your thoughts on if they're going to try to work on that racetrack? They want to run weekly racing there. Bottom line, they want I-96 to be a weekly racing track. And that's tough on you guys, Casey. You can talk on that a little bit. When you're stretching those rod bearings out every week at a place like I-96, that gets kind of tough. What are your thoughts on that, on them wanting to reconfigure the racetrack? And obviously you're going to run for a track championship there. What have you heard, and what do you expect?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I really haven't heard that many rumors about I-96. I think everybody will tell you something different. As far as I'm reconfiguring the track, I would love it. It sucks waking up Saturday morning, having to change a gear to go to Crystal, some of the short tracks. But I would really love I-96 to shorten their track, make it a 3/8, 3/10, really wide, high bank track. I think that would be the premier track in Michigan. They draw all the cars and all the fans. Um, but yeah, like I-96 being so big, I mean, it makes it a really good late model sprint car show. But it scares away the street stocks, the four cylinders, the pro stock, stuff like that. People that can afford the big motor, you know what I mean? Um, so if they had less work to do Saturday morning, I feel like they'd be more apt to go to I-96, you know.
All right. Cody, got anything before we let him go?
Well, I guess I will take the rich role and just who do you have to thank to get you to the track every week?
Oh, everybody. My dad, especially. My dad is a huge help on the car. I mean, we're out here in the shop almost every day, grinding tires, doing car maintenance. All my sponsors, you know what I mean? I got CL Trucking and Excavating out of Ionia, Jeff Dice Auto Sales. He's huge. Bad Brad Feedawa. He always stops to the shop just about every day and drinks all our beer. Um, then I got my hometown dentist, Portland Dentistry by Design. John McCall out of Fruitport. He powder coated our chassis this year. Looks badass. And then Corey Styles of Prime Contracting. Rob Brillhart, Dave Jeffrey. They're big helps. Now we got Don Jose Mexican Grill out of Portland. They're top notch, dude. I swear to God, I eat there almost once a week. Um, then Fisk Trucking, we get all our tires and fuel from him. Shannon's a really big help. Shannon and Ryan. Then my parts guy up to CarQuest here in town, Rick. He's he's a big help.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations on the win on Friday night. Good luck chasing down that track championship. Who knows? Maybe we'll be calling you up October, November, talking to you after you earn that track championship.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks guys. Take care.
Time for our next featured interview tonight. Now brought to you by Independence Heating and Cooling, Southern Michigan's Bryant dealer. A clean sweep on Saturday. They quite literally broke out the brooms in Victory Lane at Berlin. From Belmont, Michigan, Austin Hull. Welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Hey, I tell you what, man. Great start to the season at Toledo. Even better starts when you go to Berlin. That 20 car right now is on rails, man. Talk about that team right now and how things are feeling.
Yeah, I think just the change from last year to this year was really just me and Carl kind of gelling a little bit better, and Van Dorn and I kind of getting on the same page. Last year was a big learning curve going into the CRA stuff and just trying to feel what they were talking about at every track. And I think we kind of got to a point where we know what I'm looking for now, and we know how to communicate with each other so that we can get what I need.
Was there a big moment or idea or hurdle that you guys had to get over? I mean, it is so important to be able to, for you as a driver, I think your most important thing is to be able to tell the team what the car is doing versus what you need it to do. Do you look back and realize like where there was either a communication breakdown or just you weren't getting what you needed? Was there a big thing that you guys were able to correct?
Yeah, so for years I was driving stuff that I mean, for a couple of years before we got Carl involved, I was kind of just driving the baseline setup that Van Dorn had, and I didn't really know how to adjust it. So I would basically make it do what I wanted to in the car with using brake bias and different throttle points and things like that. And I had to kind of get out of that so that I could just have the car do what it's doing and just have Carl be able to go, this is how I can fix it instead of me trying to fix it in the car. So
You were forcing the car to do something it wasn't set up to do.
yeah, and so this year we went more of a just every time we go out, drive it exactly the same. If it's tight, just drive it tight and tell me it's tight. Don't try to make it loose or do anything that it doesn't want to do. And we got to that point with a little bit of testing at Berlin, and it fired off. We found a package that we liked, and just started moving around with it a little bit. And I mean, we were up and down on Friday. We changed every corner of the car, just trying stuff, and ended up on the same package we started with.
And has being able to race outside of Berlin with the Jeds Tour, has that helped? Did that help you be able to fix those issues you were having?
Yeah, I think racing with the Jegs Tour kind of gave me a different level of aggression just because of the different competition that there is. I mean, I'm Berlin is very flowy and a little bit, it's a little more relaxed than some other tracks. So it kind of gave me a different level of intensity to go into Berlin with so that it feels even slower than what it did before. So now I can kind of pick and choose where I want to do stuff. But we took some setup stuff from other tracks and applied it to this place, and it seemed to have worked when really we didn't think it was gonna.
I want to go back to Toledo before we dive into everything that happened this weekend at Berlin, Jigs Tour season opener. I came to your shop a couple of months ago and you guys were fired up about Toledo. And man, if Kyle Crump's not there, right? I mean, it ends up, and, Rich even said on our programs, this is not a knock, but it's just looking at the paper. You're probably the third best car there. And if those two do something dumb, which one of them did, talking about Blake Rowe and Kyle Crump, it's your race to lose. How good did it feel? I know second sucks is kind of the mantra, but to know that your guys' stuff was that good and you were hanging with the two clearly best cars in the field.
Yeah, I mean Kyle and Blake are excellent drivers, and even chasing down Kyle, I knew that Kyle doesn't screw up very often, so I was just like I had to be perfect. And I mean, it felt great to be in that position. The hardest part I had with it was just being consistent there. I've only had 250 laps around the place, and I bet Kyle's probably got a few thousand around there. And
Right.
so I was just trying to do the best I could and mitigate the damage, and just try to bring the team home a good finish.
You think so obviously that last restart for those who weren't there, Blake gets sent to the tail for a restart violation, and so you guys restart the race with like 20 to go or inside of 20 to go or something like that. Um, do you have anything for Kyle on the short run if you get another stab at him, or was second the best that 20 car and you guys could pull out that day?
I look back at that a lot. So when we went into turn three on the first lap after the green, and I kind of overdrove the middle of the corner and pushed up the hill. And when Albert got to the inside of me, it kind of screwed me a little bit. I think with him and I battling a little bit, it kind of set me in a weird position that I had to overcome a deficit of over a second at that point. And I think had that not been an issue, then I may have had something for him. I mean, like I said, he's really good around there, and he wasn't going to make very many mistakes. I was going to have to just make something happen out of nothing. But I think I probably could have been a little closer. I don't know that I necessarily could have gotten to him, but we knew what we were going to do if we did have to get to him, because I'm wanting one of those Jags wins.
All right. So the black and green number 20 may have had a little red on it by the end of the night. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, not too much. I wasn't going to wreck anyone for it, but I'm going to race them hard for it.
No.
And then Saturday at Berlin, you found yourself in a similar spot, chasing down Tyler Lupton late in the race. Were you able to use what you learned from Toledo last week?
Yeah, I just brought that same level of just aggression to the track, like just showed up there and was like I'm prepared to do anything I need to do to be the best here. So we showed up and unloaded, had a good car, and just kind of worked on a little small things, and just kind of got me back into the pocket, because Toledo is so much different than Berlin. And I mean, it probably took me 20 laps to really get back into the rhythm, just from going from a track where you're wide open on the straightaways to a track where you're driving like you got an egg under your foot. But yeah, I mean, just kept up the aggression, and at the end of the race, just kind of pushed a little harder than I probably should have really, but just kind of had to make it happen within 10 to go.
Berlin is still on.
And
Oh, go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
saying just and as a former track champion at Berlin, is there a sense of pride when you're able to run well in these bigger races, or in Saturday's case, go to victory lane?
Yeah, I mean, it like everyone says, if you can win at Berlin, you can win anywhere, and I mean, it rings pretty true coming from the fact that like I have no racing experience outside of the sportsman and the late models, so I never raced any karts or anything beyond that, and it's just been amazing, honestly, to see how you can take little pieces from Berlin and bring them other places, and you can take pieces from other places and bring them to Berlin and just see results from it.
Was going to ask you about the tires at Berlin because last year it was a big discussion point going to McCreary, and obviously a lot of other places that you go. I think pretty much everywhere else you go, you're still going to be on the Hoosier. And toward the end of the year, I'm talking to these guys and talking to you, and this isn't a quote from you or anybody. I'm just saying, talking to late model drivers in general. There's no tire fall off. They're hard as a rock. We're going all out all the time. Listen, you came from 10th on Saturday. Dylan Stovall from 12th to finish 7th. Fourth to second for Tyler. Joe Bush holds right there at third. Brian comes from 8th to finish fourth. Bergacre, not much of a movement, 6th to 5th. Seneker from 9th to 6th. I already talked about Dylan Stovall. Blake Rowe loses a spot. Andrew Scheid loses a spot. And Tyler Reisinga falls through the field all the way back to 10th. Um, is there a change? Was it attrition? This is just looking at it on paper. You moved through the field from 10th to 1. How did the race play out on those tires on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's those tires are quite hard. I mean, honestly, I'd prefer if they were harder yet. They just make the racing a little more fun. But yeah, it was really just it looked like some guys had handling that was a little off, and we were dialed. I mean, I really have not had a car that was better than what it was on Saturday, and we just we knew that we had the pace. We just had to be patient and not make any stupid mistakes, which I did last year in the opener, and ended up costing myself, a rear clip and a couple body panels, and ended up costing Brian Campbell a little bit of damage too. But yeah, it was really just be patient. Know you've got the car there. Make sure that every time I was going to make a move, like I was making the move confidently and powerful, and just make my presence known.
Talking with Austin Hull here, and still got more to talk about with him. But first, I want to say thank you to Independence Heating and Cooling. They are Southern Michigan's Bryant dealer. Now through the end of May, when you install a home furnace or air conditioner, you'll get your choice of a whole home humidifier. Say that 3 times fast. Honeywell 4-inch air filter cabinet, or Bryant UV germicidal lamp for free. Nearly a $500 value. When you install a furnace or air conditioner at the same time, you'll get your choice of 2 free items, a nearly $1,000 value. That's going on now only at Independence Heating and Cooling, Southern Michigan's Bryant dealer. Bryant, whatever it takes. So now what? We look back at last year. Your Kayla, I'm going to call her your Kayla because I don't actually know what your guys' status is. She posted on Facebook that it was, we're 7 days or something like that, like a week removed from when you won last year. What do these early wins do for you? And, the competition at Berlin, it's like a Jegs Tour race, every time you guys unload. It's like a Super Series, ASA race. Every time you guys unload at Berlin, competition is stacked. How does this set you up, and what did you learn from your experience after winning early last year and then seeing how the rest of the season played out? Is there anything you guys are planning on doing differently now?
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep working on me and getting me more consistent, and obviously the car can always be better. We're gonna try to tweak on it and see if we can get a little bit more where in the spots where I want it. But I don't know. I mean, really, to start out the year this way is it's a good feel. I mean, you come out and you just qualify a quick time and win the race, and it sets precedence. You don't really want to accept anything less. So I think it really lights a fire under the rest of the crew, and under me especially. And we just want to go out there and get the next one.
It bums me out because the Jegs Tour has a couple of conflicts with Berlin, and I know that you were trying to figure that out. And now you're leading the points at Berlin. So I know where that puts the Jegs Tour now. We're playing second fiddle to you there at Berlin. But I mean, that's a tough deal no matter what. You still plan on hitting the road? Just, I mean, you talked earlier in this interview about how that helped you build, you know, your aggression and racing around a different crop of competitors. Even with the points lead, when you can, do you still plan on hitting the road?
Yeah, I mean we're gonna hit everything that doesn't conflict at this point. I think there's two, maybe three races that conflict, but we've been kind of in the talks of it, and we're kind of trying to see where our momentum's at in the year to see, does it make sense, and obviously financially if it makes sense. But yeah, I'm looking forward to racing a lot this year and just getting a lot more experience under my belt and trying to show up to some of these races with guys that we have no business really beating and beat them.
By the way, you're only 9 points out of the Jegs Tour Championship lead. Just throwing that out there, just putting that out there. And Kyle's not supposed to get Anderson, so yeah,
Right.
you take that with how you want it. Cody, what do you got?
So, what track surprised you the most with the Jed CRA All Stars Tour last year that maybe you're excited to go back to this year, or you wish you were going back to?
um, I honestly, the thing that surprised me the most this year was the repave of Toledo. I kind of liked, or Flat Rock, sorry. The I liked the surface the way it was, and it was just because it was kind of gritty and made you drive it. But I'll be interested to see how that is this year. And then Winchester was really fun. You're flying around there. That's
Do you
about the
feel
fastest I think I've gone on four wheels. So
do you feel like Winchester got away from you?
a little bit. We made some questionable decisions on restart chooses, and then my last restart I was not very good on. But like, had we gone green, I think we would have been pretty good. We were probably second or third place car. But yeah, it was inexperience that got me there, and just first time there, just kind of had to learn everything. So
I want you to talk about your physical preparation for this year. You have told me that you have hit the gym probably harder than you have in, if not your life, in quite some time. Um, what has that been like? Was that intentional to be better behind the wheel? And now that you've put 75 laps in at Berlin and 100 laps in at Toledo, did it feel different having done that preparation?
yeah, I mean we've started eating better and just trying to be in better physical shape. I mean it feels better first of all, but yeah, it helps in the race car. I mean, I got out of the car after winning at Berlin and felt like I could probably do another 100 laps if I needed to. I got out of the car after Toledo and felt like I could have done another 100 laps easy, and it just like hardly crack a sweat anymore. Where I used to feel like I was dying halfway through the race and having to fight through that. So I feel like I'm not like quote unquote falling out of the seat anymore. And so I think it's going to help me in the long run. Obviously, there's still driver comfort stuff that you can do to help it, but it's just going to be another layer on top at this point. So I think being down almost 30 pounds helps a lot. I mean, it's lets you put lead in the car in other spots too.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's not like 2024 or 2023 Austin Hall was out of shape. I mean, when you look at you, it's not like you were somebody like me. You weren't a huge guy, but to tone it in and to be intentional about it, you feel has made a big difference for you.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of the fatigue out of me during the race, so I can be a little sharper toward the end of the race and make more decisive moves without being mentally lazy, I guess. But I mean, racing takes a lot out of you, and in the heat of it, and just how focused you are. I know it's only 20 minutes behind the wheel at pace, but it's 20 minutes of full intensity the whole time, and you're trying to get everything you can get, and so it anything's going to help, and I'm going to try to keep going and see what I can get down to, healthy wise anyway. But I definitely think it's helped.
Cody, you got anything else?
Yeah, you got the Money in the Bank and Battle at Berlin coming up here in the next couple of months, and just how are you feeling going into it after your start to the season?
I'm feeling honestly the most confident I've ever felt. I felt good about it last year, and we had some tire issues, and didn't have the night we were expecting. But we played around with some stuff on the car just to see what affected it and what didn't. And I was pretty happy to see some of the results, and we think we're gonna have a real good piece for both of those races.
Well, Austin, as we get ready to wrap this thing up here, your schedule is going to be hit or miss, and with Berlin, you're going to be focused on that. See you some Jegs Tour races, social media. That content has picked up the pace. One thing I was going to ask you off of your social media is, have you figured out a better way for your water bottle inside the race car so that it doesn't kick your rear end so much?
Well, I figured out I had the straw pulled out too far, so
Okay.
it kept bending because you sit at that weird angle. But the I had 2 times at Berlin, no struggles at all, was all good. We
Good
we got
deal.
that figured out.
Good deal. I was worried that we were going to have to hire somebody just to get the straw science figured out for you. That was an awesome video that was posted on the TikTok page. Because it's things like that that the fans don't realize are happening under caution, right? That,
Right.
they may think that you're just chilled out, relaxing in the seat. No, you're getting your rear end kicked by a water bottle under caution. Austin, man, appreciate you making time for us. Congratulations on the win on Saturday. Who was it that helped you get to victory lane?
Van Dorn Racing Development, having the very fast race car, and Carl Usher helping me out with all that. Obviously my dad, my mom, Kayla, just everyone around us. I got Town Country carpets on the car, Product 41 keeping me in looking good and comfortable.
That new
And
suit, by the way, is badass. That is a
yeah, I like
huge
that thing. Yeah, Product 41 hooked me up with that and my helmet and my gloves and shoes and all that stuff. And then Angela's Italian Restaurant helps us out. Embrace Chiropractic helps us out. QuickTime Automotive, Thomas Team Real Estate, Downtown Trinity's Margarita Joe's. We've got Grand Valley Concrete Products now, and Wenger's Bowl. And then I believe that's it. Unless I'm missing, I might be missing one, but you can check out Holster Racing's Facebook page and see all of them on the side of the car.
There you go. Hey, congratulations, man. Looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully things play out that I can see you at Anderson. Obviously, I know that would mean a rain out probably up here at Berlin, which we don't always want, but looking forward to seeing you again, man. Good luck this year.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, that'll do it for tonight's show. I want to say thank you to Casey Smith and Austin Hall for being on the program. And Cody, let's take a look at that upcoming calendar. I know for the past couple of weeks, they've been trying very hard to get it in at Kalamazoo Speedway. Opening night, take 3. Cody, there's some other things going on too. They got a busy Friday night planned this week.
Yeah, all weekly divisions are in action with increased payouts. Late models racing for 2,000 to win, limiteds 1,500 to win. Street stocks are also going to be racing for 2,000 to win, and then front wheel drive action as well. But also they're doing free raffles for fan appreciation, and these prizes include a skybox for a night, tickets to future races and night of destruction events, pit passes, tires, and they're even giving away some cash awards.
All right. So there you go. Friday night, if you can make it, get out down to Kalamazoo Speedway. And if you're into this sort of thing, I myself, I'm just me, God, and Jesus are tight. But if you have other rituals that you do, see what you can do to get the rain out of the forecast for Friday. My goodness, again, Friday looks like it's in jeopardy early this week, but hopefully something will change for Kalamazoo Speedway coming up this Friday. Also, Friday night up north, Mount Pleasant Speedway opens the gates for the first time this season. It'll be $1,000 to win. IMCA Modified Special. That's right. Remember, the IMCA sanction moved to Mount Pleasant this year, and Going Green Trophies and Awards will also have the Best Looking Car Award for the night. So good way to start off the season. That going on at Mount Pleasant Speedway this Friday night. Saturday, Silver Bullet Speedway will open the 2025 season, delayed 1 week. They've got a full schedule of events, including IMCA Modifieds, the Michigan Street Stocks, Pro Late Models, Bullet Stocks, Road Warriors, and Mini Wedges. Pits open at 4, gates at 5:30, and racing at 7 o'clock on Saturday at Silver Bullet. And then I don't have anything. I'm just checking my calendar one more time. I don't have anything going on Saturday. And 5 minutes to my north is Butler Motor Speedway. They'll open the 2025 season on Saturday as well. Winged 410 sprint cars, dirt car UMP modifieds. Got to make sure I don't say late models. They've got several late model shows this year. Street stocks and front wheel drives all on the card for the 4-in-1 season opener coming up Saturday night at Butler Motor Speedway. So there we go. Cody, anything else? Anything else you're eyeing on your schedule this weekend? Obviously, you and I will be at Lima on Friday night, but what else? You eyeballing anything going on this weekend?
Well, I'll be at Berlin Saturday, opening up the 2025 Reveal the Hammer season. And they've released an entry list over the weekend, and it looks like it's going to be a good show.
All right, there you go, Berlin Raceway. And what are you taking the snapshot camera with you on Saturday? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. KG Media, check out the photos coming up this weekend. Cody, thank you, man. Appreciate you stepping in while Richard was on vacation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that'll do it for Scott Menlin, who pays the bills, Rich France, who's on vacation, Cody Geyer, I'm Zach Heiser. We'll talk to you same time, same place next week, right here on Horsepower Happenings.